Okay, second question is, have you ever asked yourself why you don't have confidence? John, you did a great job of talking about that. You realized that there were some early childhood things that had happened, which is quite often the case. And sometimes John and I have a similar background where we, had alcoholic family members. In my case, I was abused in every way
Really?
possible. And so, I had some real issues there, but sometimes it's not that.
No,
Sometimes
not
it's,
super up, but
hang on, somebody's got some background noise there. So John, it might be you. I'm gonna have to mute you there. Um, so sometimes it's, you didn't get picked for the kickball team or, at a young age, or, you tried out for a sport or cheerleading or band and you didn't get picked, or you had an older sibling that was super successful and you weren't, or your parents were saying, well, great, you got a B, why didn't you get an A? It doesn't have to just be trauma, but the reason why you want to look at that question is there's a reason why you're struggling with confidence. And these tools that I'm going to share with you are going to help you uncover what that is. The second aha that I had is there's not a quick fix to confidence. I thought I'm going to read this one book in 2002 and magically I'm going to be healed and I'm going to be confident. So I want you to just kind of test yourself a little bit. What have you tried to improve your confidence? Why hasn't it worked, or has it worked? Again, I'm just going to pause for just a minute and let you explore that. And then I'm going to break down these four types of confidence. And we're going to look at that. Maybe what's happened is you've improved one area of confidence, but you haven't improved another. And that's what makes you think it's not working. So just, again, give yourself about a minute to jot that down. And then we'll look at the four types of confidence. Okay, so four types of confidence, not one. The first one is developmental. Developmental is learning how to do new things. So I have very weak developmental confidence, very weak. Anybody that really knows me intimately knows that the first time I go to do something, I'm petrified. And if I can't become good at it very quickly, I don't want to do it. And and I have all sorts of excuses for why that is, but I have weak developmental confidence. So therefore, I can oftentimes look like I'm very confident, but in reality, I might not feel like I'm very confident because I don't like learning how to do new things. Unless I can be great at it right out of the gate, I don't like it. Second type of confidence is performance confidence. Performance confidence is improving your ability to perform. I have really strong performance confidence is if I can get something, learn it, and become great at it relatively quickly, I'm a superstar. If I can get over that first part. Now, these first two bubbles are really important because what I find is people they're usually strong in one and weak in another. And so I want you to really take note of that. Is it that you don't like learning new things or trying new things because you're uncomfortable with that period where you don't know things, or is it that you don't have enough confidence that you can become great at it? And there's a big difference between those two. So just take about 30 seconds. I'm going to give you some more examples of these in a minute, and then we're going to talk about the other two types of confidence. All right, the third type of confidence is actually the most important, and that is emotional confidence. What emotional confidence is managing your emotions, recognizing when you feel afraid, recognizing when you've got anxiousness, recognizing when you feel, stress, and knowing what to do about it. And the vast majority of my research has found that it's not the developmental or performance confidence issues, it's strengthening the emotional confidence issues, having tools. And I'm going to give you one of the tools today to help with that, where you can lower your stress and calm yourself down. The fourth type I call soulful confidence. And that's just trusting that there's a higher force towards good, whatever that means to you. So let me give you examples of each four. Developmental confidence is learning how to do marketing and sales. So most founders that I work with, They say almost, I just don't know how to do marketing and sales. If I just knew how to do marketing and sales, this would be great. What that's telling me is they have a developmental block as it relates to learning marketing and sales. They're assuming that they can't learn it, and therefore they don't want to try. And that I don't want to try, if that is one of the voices in your head, that usually means it's a developmental confidence block. When it becomes performance confidence, it's getting better at marketing. So I can do it, I can post, I can do these things, but I just need to learn how to get better at it. That is what performance confidence looks like, is getting better at marketing. The third is emotional confidence. Hey, I'm feeling anxious about this marketing thing. I know why, but I have confidence that I can change my emotional state. And I'm going to show you how to change your emotional state to strengthen your emotional confidence here in a minute. And then soulful is just trusting even the difficult parts of being an entrepreneur can lead to positive outcomes. And they truly can. So these 4 types of confidence, the idea is not to become great at all of them, but to recognize which ones you can lean on and which ones you need to do some work on. In most cases, it's almost always emotional or soulful confidence that addressing these other 2, you have to do that, but you'll find it's a lot less stressful if you can work on the emotional and soulful. And that's what I'm going to give you a tool for to help you do that. And this is a tool I did not create. The author is unknown, but it's absolutely brilliant. And it talks about what happens when you're trying to get out of your comfort zone. If you really just kind of look at those arrows. So what's happening is you're comfortable doing what you're doing. It may or may not be working the way that you want. And then you say, oh gosh, I don't know. I don't know about this. This is hard. And we start to feel that lack of self-confidence. We start feeling judged by other people. We start, finding excuses. All that means is you're in what he calls the fear zone. And the fear zone is you're feeling fear. It doesn't mean you're lacking confidence. It just means you're feeling fear. Let me say that again. It doesn't mean you're lacking confidence. It just means you're feeling fear. And that's basically where developmental confidence really plays, between the comfort zone and the fear zone. And that's why I told you I have weak developmental confidence. Is the minute I try something new, playing golf, surfing, learning AI, pick anything, that developmental confidence kicks in, and I have all of these great excuses for why I don't want to do it. All that's really happening is I'm feeling fear from doing something new. If you can get past that, you move out of the fear zone and you move into the learning zone. And that's when performance confidence really kicks in. That's where you start to learn and you start to acquire new skills. And if you can get into the learning zone, get through the fear zone and get into the learning zone, that's when you can break through whatever the barrier is and achieve what it is that you want to achieve. Questions about that before we go a little bit deeper and get into the really, really hard stuff related to emotional confidence?
Well, this isn't really a question, Terry, but did you say that there's a book that does that comfort to fear, whatever that was, whatever that was that you just had up there, which I
No,
understand, but I thought you said you
yeah.
referred to an author.
I don't know the author of the tool.
Well, that's
I
okay. I
wish
thought you mentioned a book.
No, I don't know that he's the author of the tool, and I've never found him. But I find the tool to be incredibly helpful. There's not a book about it
Yeah,
though.
no, the tool's great. I should just take the picture out of it. So great,
Yeah,
thank you.
go ahead and take the picture.
Yeah.
Other questions about this, and then I want to give you a tool to help you kind of break through that fear zone. Okay, so in this fear zone, what's happening is emotional confidence is weak. I'm feeling not good enough. I'm feeling stress. I feel I'm coming face to face with my lack of confidence. I'm overthinking this. I'm trying to be a perfectionist. And that's what blocks us, is when we start to do something new and we feel this discomfort that is in the fear zone. It's that developmental confidence. But this is basically emotional confidence. So the tool that I'm going to give you is called Success Switch. And I use this on a regular basis whenever I'm faced with overthinking, perfectionism, feeling like I need to be perfect. And we're going to do it together because it's really simple and it's really powerful. So it's 3 steps. The first step is we're going to acknowledge. And what the acknowledge does is it causes the amygdala to stop whatever the negative program is, and it brings it to the surface so that we can be aware of it. And that bringing it to the surface so that we can be aware of it is super important. So the way that you do that is you say, the truth is I feel, and then make sure you're on mute, and just do that. Just trust me. Just do this with me. The truth is I feel, and whatever comes up, comes up. It could be the truth is I feel frustrated. The truth is I feel scared. The truth is I feel tired. I feel angry, whatever, it doesn't matter. The truth is I feel, and then pause, and you're going to pause for about 30 seconds, and you're going to notice your brain start to slow down. So ready, set, go. The truth is I feel, and then pause and just wait for your brain to slow down. Now you probably notice your brain feels a little different right now. It's not worrying, whatever it was doing, spinning, spinning, spinning. It's just you kind of downshifting. Maybe it's in second gear instead of 10th gear. Maybe it's in third gear, first gear. Just kind of wait until you can get it down as low where it's just almost in neutral. And then the second step is we're going to activate the prefrontal cortex. That's kind of the boss of the brain. And we're going to use the prefrontal cortex to turn on the parasympathetic nervous system. And to do that, you're going to take 4 breaths in through your nose and out of your mouth. Breath 1. Just pause and just feel your stress coming down. Breath 2, a little bit deeper. Right now, your parasympathetic nervous system is dumping dopamine and serotonin into your bloodstream. It's calming you down. Notice that you feel a little different. You might feel a little lightheaded. Breath 3. And then breath 4 with a little ah. Ah. All we've done is relax the amygdala, relax the nervous system, and make it so that our parasympathetic nervous system is dominant, and we're not in that fight or flight state. And I'm going to skip back before I give you the third step. What happens when you're triggered by learning something new or needing to be perfect, and you get in this fear zone, is your nervous system takes over, and you start stories about the last time you failed, and what if this doesn't work, and what if I can't do this, and what if I can't get this right, and what if I'm not good enough, and all these stories take over, and that causes you to get stuck and paralyzed. So what the first 2 steps of the success switch do is they relax the amygdala, they activate the parasympathetic nervous system, get it back in the driver's seat, calm yourself down, and now you're building emotional confidence or nervous system regulation. And then you just give yourself a prompt, a new belief, visualize the success that you want. For this, I like to say, I have the power to create what I want. And I just repeat that. I have the power to create what I want. And I just feel it. And I kind of give myself a little rocky stance where I feel it in my body and I'm embodying it. Maybe I'll picture being successful or whatever I'm doing. And the irony, I don't know if any of you have been watching the Olympics, but you could see this play out in real time with athletes. The athletes that had their nervous systems relaxed typically did much better. The ones that were all jacked up, didn't matter how many years they'd practiced, how many other medals or awards that they'd won, they froze, and they all those voices popped in their head, and you could see at the Olympics this year was just a profound example of the power of nervous system regulation. So this success switch is a way that I switch my mind and my body into a state, a regulated state, where I can learn whatever the new thing is that I need to learn. I can learn how to do marketing. I can face my fear of rejection, reaching out to prospects. I can challenge my belief that I might not be good enough. And so that's the first tool that I'm going to give you. We have if you're interested in more, I have like a whole sheet that describes the whole process, so you could go more deeply in it, if that will help you. And so the next tool I want to talk about is related to how your mind works, not your brain, but how your mind works as it relates to the challenges, and facing fear and uncertainty. So the conscious mind, which there are several parts of the brain that where our consciousness really exists, that's where our perceptions are. So you're consciously aware right now that you're listening to my voice, and you're consciously aware that you're looking at my screen and you're seeing the pictures on my screen. Your conscious mind is activated, and that's where most of our awareness exists. And anything that is in the conscious mind, we can deal with it. Challenge is the subconscious mind and the unconscious mind. So in the subconscious level, our emotions and our thoughts really hide from us. And those stories that we're telling ourselves, they're not in the conscious mind, they're in the subconscious mind. And that failure story, that perfection story, that need to be good enough, that need to be right. I wish I could. Why can't I do that? Why is that person successful? Why am I not? All of that BS is in your subconscious mind, not in your conscious mind. And so what's happening is you're over here in your conscious mind trying to achieve your goals, but you're being weighted down by all this garbage that's in the subconscious mind. And they have like a little frequency. But what my big aha was is most of our barriers, most of those really destructive negative programs are actually living in the unconscious mind. So they're down here, like this not good enough and self-worth. Those are big time barriers. They're living down here like a root of the most nefarious weed ever. And they're triggering all of these negative thoughts and triggering all of these negative emotions. And yet there's this big block over here is my goal and what I want to achieve and the thing I want to learn. But I'm having all these stories in my head and all this garbage down here that I'm fighting with. And so I developed a tool, and this tool is a way to kind of break these areas down, and identify what the root causes are. Now, sometimes when I show people this tool, it scares you. So I want to make sure that you're breathing, just keep breathing, because this is where you come face to face with your garbage, but this is how you heal it. So from my research, and I've been doing this research for over 2 decades through Succeed on Purpose. I don't know, maybe 4,000 people have participated in these various studies that I've done. At the conscious mind, there are 4 barriers, and most of the time we're aware of these barriers. We're presently aware of them. So time management, somebody that's late, somebody that has a lot of trust or confidence issues. Like I became aware of that, that I had distrust and confidence issues. Perfectionism. I hear that a lot in entrepreneurs. Willingness to take action where you just become paralyzed. And then fear and addiction. My food is my drug of choice, or used to be my drug of choice. Anytime I was afraid, I would start eating food. And so most of the time, these are not fun things to talk about, but most of the time people are aware of them. Challenge is these are not the problem. The problem is a little bit deeper. And so the first subconscious barrier is self-awareness. Are you aware of what's happening? And if somebody is not self-aware, I can't help them. You have to become aware of what these barriers are. The second one is fear of what other people think. This often ties to perfectionism, where you have lots of stories. I don't want to be judged. I don't want people to judge me. I need to have everybody be happy with me, or the need to be right, or fear of being wrong. Sometimes that ties into perfectionism. And so that's really like underneath perfectionism is often a fear of what other people think. Um, and then you've got the next two is need to control. I need to control this. I need to make this perfect. Sometimes you see that with perfectionism or willingness to act. If I can't be in control, I don't want to do it. If I can't be the boss of this, I don't want to do it. That's one of my patterns, as my loving partner will tell you. And then fear of failure. Um, this one tends to kind of it tends to be a little bit vague. It shows up here and sometimes here. I don't want to take action on this if I can't be great at it. That's fear of failure. And so again, your temperatures, your stress is probably rising because we're getting a little bit closer to the like, oh wow, that's a little too close, Terry. I didn't know we were going to go that far. But I want you to just be honest with yourself about which of these you see and just try to make them conscious. The hard part isn't the hurt and the fear and the anxiousness that you're feeling. The hard part is not being aware of it. So just own it. Say, yeah, I've got a perfectionist issue, and the issue is because I'm afraid of being judged by other people. Or, yeah, I don't take action on my goals because I'm afraid to fail. Just be honest about it. It doesn't feel good. You're going to feel yucky for a minute, but just breathe through it. Just use that tool that I gave you a minute ago. Just breathe through it and just know it's going to be okay. And then all of a sudden, you're going to notice it subsides. And now we're getting a little closer to the real issue. I'm going to give you just a few minutes just to think about that. And then we're going to go just a little bit deeper into what I call the core four, which are the four biggest barriers that most people have. So just take a couple of minutes looking at that. And then we're going to go just a little bit deeper and push it just a little bit harder. Okay, let's go a little deeper, make it just a little bit harder. So, what I found in my research is if you could get to one of these, I'm going to use fear of failure. So many people have fear of failure and need to be right, or actually, let's do fear of others because that one is, I think, strong, related to perfectionism or willingness to act or fear and addiction here. So, let's say it looks like that. If you can get that far, you're on your way and you get through that uncomfortable feeling. You're in the fear zone right now. Just breathe. You're in the fear zone. But now let's go a little further. What I found in my research is there's actually another barrier underneath it. It's not fear of failure. It's not perfectionism. It's not fear of others. It's deeper. And we got to look at the deeper part. The two most common barriers are not good enough and self worth. These are unconscious. That means they were formed in our first 8 to 12 years of life. Sometimes they were formed, in my case, because of incredible trauma. Sometimes it was just a overbearing parent or a perfectionist family culture or a sibling that was a superstar and you were being compared to, or a school that had very high standards. I talked to somebody that was in a Catholic school with nuns, and they would get their knuckles rapped, with the ruler every time they made a mistake, and so they had these issues. And normally, these unconscious barriers that are formed in the unconscious mind are typically formed in our first 8 to 12 years of life. So the most common 98% of the people that I studied, again, we're talking thousands of people, had a not good enough barrier at the root cause. And it was driving this, which was driving this. And they were literally connected like this, or it was driving like this. 98% of the people I studied had not good enough. Self worth is a little bit different. In self worth is where you're comparing yourself to other people. big you, little me, putting other people's needs before yourself. Sometimes people have both self-worth and not good enough. And, it is what it is. Just own it. The other two are really sneaky. And I really wish I would have caught these sooner because they've been the source of a lot of my challenges, but I need to know how this is going to work out before I'll move forward. I need to know that I can do this before I try. That's obviously one of mine because of that developmental barrier. I need to know I can do it. And mine for that one works like this. I need to know because I don't want to be judged about what other people think of me because I'm trying to be perfect. That's what mine looks like. Yours can look a little different. So need to know is really the root cause of all of the challenges. It's not perfectionism. It's not trust and confidence. It's need to know. And then fear of success. Some of us have, believe it or not, a fear of being successful. And there's all sorts of reasons why that we don't have time to get into today. But that one, these two right here are sneaky, and they're sneaky. And again, I had all four of these. And every year I dedicate my year to working on one of these barriers. Last year I worked on fear of success, and this year I'm working on self-worth. And so it's not like a quick fix. It's not like the Pure Confidence program is going to magically fix this. But it's the kind of thing as you develop the tools to become aware of it, and that's how it works. One other thing about how this works, and then I'll stop and take questions. And I know you probably just need to breathe because you're probably feeling a lot of stress right now, is just breathe it out. Just breathe it out. Is if you really stop and think about it, at the conscious layer, that's where your behavior is showing up. Perfectionism is a behavior, it's not a barrier, it's how you're behaving. At the second layer, that's where your thoughts and emotions are. So let's use perfectionism. Let's say that that's the behavior. The thoughts that you're thinking underneath that and the feelings that you're feeling are usually about fear of others or the need to be right. That's the thoughts and a feelings layer. But the true barrier is down here. And it's almost always either need to know or not good enough that's driving this. And what I found in my research is if we could just get down to this layer and address that, we can address it much more quickly rather than working on perfectionism and working on fear of what other people think and the imposter syndrome and all that stuff. If you just go deeper and you deal with these layers on the bottom, you can actually get further faster. And again, I know this is stressful stuff to talk about, but I want to stop and see if there's any questions so far. And then I'm going to show you a way to kind of move forward through that. Any questions so far on how these barriers work? And I just showed you a different version of what it might look like. Questions or comments? And just keep breathing. I know this is stressful. We're going to get to a solution here in a minute. All right, just remember, keep breathing, keep breathing. Okay, so in Pure Confidence, what we teach, and this is a program that I've had in Succeed on Purpose for a long time. It is a program that's included in ShiftCo. Is the first thing that we have to do is we have to make a commitment to evolve. And what that means is we're not going to fix this in one fell swoop. It's going to be something we're going to be working on for a while, but it has to be addressed in order for your business to move forward, period. You got to make the commitment to evolve. If that commitment is not there, you will not resolve the barrier. Step two is we have to go through that mapping exercise that we just did, and we got to own it. We got to identify it. We got to draw on there, and we got to say, yep, this is this. And you have to say, I am owning my not good enough barrier, and I'm owning this need to know, and I am going to resolve this. And it's that committing to evolve and owning it and not blaming other people, not telling yourself a story anymore. It's just owning it. Third step is releasing it. And that's a set of tools that we teach. Inside of ShiftCo, we have what we call breakthrough coaches that actually help you release your stuff once we know what it is. And that's included in your membership as well. We got to release this stuff. And then lastly is you have to learn how to elevate your energy and move forward anyway. And that combination is how you move through these steps. And that's what we want to do is we want to help you. We want to give you the tools that will get you out of the comfort zone, through the fear zone, and into the learning zone. And then you keep that evolution moving forward. And eventually you get into the growth zone. When you're in the growth zone, that's when you can achieve whatever it is that you want to achieve. It's not fixing it, it's really the evolution. I am not fixed. I don't have all four of those barriers resolved. And I choose one a year to work on because they're so deeply embedded in my nervous system and in my organs and in my cells and in my thoughts that I'm just committed to every year addressing that. And so that's how it works. That's the tool set in a summary. And, you know, if you are interested in joining ShiftCo, the membership fee, if your business is under 30K a month, it's $235 a month. If it's above 30K a month, it's a little more expensive. But it also includes all this stuff that I gave you, all these tools. We have full-on programs plus breakthrough coaches that help you with those areas. And there's 3 ways that we can support you. If you're ready, I can give you a sample inside ShiftCo, gives you kind of a feel for what the program looks like. Or you can have a free coaching session with me so you can experience that. Or you can just continue to attend events. That's cool too. I do want to let you know that if you do join by 228, you will be in my squad, and this will be my last squad for a while. The squads are they're seasonal, so we're ending the winter squad on 228, and the spring squad will start on March 1st, and somebody else will be leading the next couple of squads. So if ShiftCo is something you think you want to join by 228. And you'll be in my squad, which means you'll meet with me personally bi-weekly. And that'll be the last time that I'm doing that for a while. And then, of course, if you're not ready, you can attend as many events as you want. There's no limit. I highly, highly, highly encourage you to come to Gather and Grow. It is amazing. This is the virtual version. That will be on February 25th. From 11 to 12 Central. And then if you want help with packaging and offers, we have a training event and a workshop where we literally work through your packaging and offers, and that is on March 3rd. So I know we covered a lot, and I know that this is not easy stuff to talk about. It's not easy to lean into those areas of ourselves. But what I can tell you as a 60-year-old survivor of a lot of difficult stuff, and as a person who both failed miserably and achieved greatly, the person that I've become in the process of healing my stuff, I would not trade that for the world. And not only is my business better and the difference that I make is much more increased, but I'm just a better human. So I encourage you to face your challenges and own them. I'm going to pause the recording.